Okie dokie. Gotta figure out what we're gonna do for our first game. Prior to that, though, I'm gonna queue up our matches. Let's see, is this gonna... Nope, wrong one. Right one, there we go. Gotta make sure we're getting the right maps. This might take a moment, just because I'm going to do it one by one, so I actually get all the maps. Let's also do a poll. Hello, hello everyone. I should have done that. I should have done that before the stream, but with the streams before you like actually get into the game, you want to just have like a little bit of downtime, you know, give people time to pool in. And so hello, hello everyone. Just going ahead and requesting all of these matches. Although I guess I can look for other matches while AI Arena loads. Who's been updated today? Looks like WickedBot had an update, so did BenBot. Puck. Somebody programmed a bot called Puck. Huh. A newer bot out there. How's it doing? Not very well, but that's what you expect with a new bot. MuleBot. It's been a while since I've cast a MuleBot game. So how about we do a MuleBot game for starters? Let's do that. I'll just do the hand thing. MuleBot versus Bot-tato, perchance? Muravev Protoss could be a fun one. Let's do the Bot-tato game. See how that goes. Okay, I'm just queuing up another one of the games for the best of fives before we do jump into that. Okay, but here we are. Our first game of the Sunday stream. We have got what should be a good one here today, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Bot-tato taking on MuleBot. Two very scrappy Terran bots. Let me make sure I get that full screened. That should do it. And there we go. And yes, these are two bots that are in pretty active development, I can say. Yeah, and they both have some things that are very good and some things that need some work. But they're both just very fun to watch, so. Just a little bit here. I'm gonna move the camera over a little bit. I have moved my desk trying to improve my ergonomics a bit, but that's always a battle. Production wise, we are getting a command center. MuleBot ends up with 2 SCVs at the CC. They're a little confused. Unfortunately, it's not the campaign. You can't have multiple workers constructing the same thing. Bot-tato, meanwhile, is going for a double gas build, so it will have out a quicker factory compared to its opponent. And look at this, the bunker at the front. Terran bot authors are so smart. Always going for that, and that's because it is a very solid choice. Okay. Multiple extra racks are going up for Mulebot. Meanwhile, its SCVs brutally swarm and kill the SCV that was scouting for Bot-Tato. So far, no units really out, just a Marine in a bunker and a Reaper moving across the map. This will be a good test for Bot-Tato as the Reaper moves to jump into the main base. Not pathing by the bunker is very important. It could get some damage done here. It throws a grenade down immediately and then gets an SCV right out the gate. So very good start for the Red Terran. An SCV for Mulebot is pulled off the line to fight, but that's not very good as it's just one at a time, which is exactly what a Reaper wants to deal with. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning into the stream and you guys haven't already, click that like button for live bots. And of course, yeah, all the good stuff. Just say hi if you're hanging out, that kind of thing. Reaper is doing a tremendous amount of damage here for Mulebot, which is just relying on the simple frontal defense, which is leaving it with a very big shortcoming. We do get 2 Marauders queued on up, but man, oh man, it's amazing just how much damage one Reaper can do. And it goes to show how difficult this is to program, because a bunker at the front catches probably 90% of things, but in this case, the Reaper of Bot-Tato did take the correct path around, and now Mulebot is having to wait till these Marauders get out to deal with this, presumably, and that's just taking a moment. The Reaper does eventually run into the bunker and goes down as a result. Meanwhile, okay, Mulebot does hang on. Polar Dog, hello, how's it going, man? I will eventually look at that plot. I put it in my phone so I don't forget. Okay, Bot-Tato, though, while it did get a lot of damage done, it does not even have its command center at the natural base yet. So this is one of the things where TVT kind of evens out regardless at the start of the game sometimes. Just like 10 SCVs went down, but now they're on pretty much identical worker counts still. And Mulebot has got the orbital already, whereas Bot-Tato doesn't. Bot-Tato, though, is looking to move out a little bit with just a hit squad of Marines. It does have a Medivac on the way. I'm wondering if this is going to pick up the 2 tanks, perchance. That would be very powerful, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And then we have got, yeah, a factory on the way. For Mulebot, it's got its racks production up, so just very heavy bio production. Lots of Marauders, 7 out already. It's choosing to move out with just 4, which is very bizarre. Now, do they have concussive shell? The answer is no, but in theory, these Marauders should still be able to kite these Marines incredibly efficiently. That's not what we're seeing here, though, as one of them kind of gets body blocked to the front by his terrible friends. And, okay, we end up having like 2 Marines for a Marauder. Not a bad trade for either bot, as Mulebot just has to kite back. The Medivac doing good work healing these up. There's the micro potential. For those of you that don't know, Marauders have got 1 more range than Marines, and this does allow the Marauders to, in theory, just kill the Marines as long as they micro perfectly. And yeah, the Marauders are getting very good trades for Mulebot. Unfortunately, a few of them are in the red, so they will go down, just catching stray bullets here and there. The attack of Bot-Tato does fall a little bit short with the Marines, but now it's got 2 tanks moving forward. They do end up retreating, though, which is a very wise decision. The Red Terran bot is getting up a command center at its 3rd, and a 3rd likewise for Mulebot. There is a Viking flying around for Bot-Tato. And then just Mulebot building more Marauders. Marauders being the meta in bot games really is, it's quite interesting. I think it makes a lot of sense. Bot-Tato just out on the map with its 2 tanks, but pulling them home. 3rd command center getting up, lots of turrets going up all over the place. One moment, just gonna turn the heat up a tick. Looks like we are getting an orbital at the 3rd for both of these bots. That's quite important. A random marauder for Mulebot has crossed the map. And I gotta say, this is quite a passive match for Mulebot. Mulebot is known for being ultra aggressive in this game. It hasn't been too aggressive. Now, its marauders are trying to move forward on top of these tanks, but oh, they turn around. The line of sight blocker is having a big impact there. The marauders do move forward. They end up getting one of the tanks. Will they walk on top of this other tank? The answer is no. They're going to eat the shots, but I think they'll still get the trade. And meanwhile, there is a Banshee moving out for Mulebot, but the Viking of Bot-Tato is already across the map working on it. We're getting a 4th base up for both of these Terran bots, so keeping pace with one another. Mulebot's supply is overall much higher than Bot-Tato's, though. After losing those tanks, that was quite painful. I mean, I think the production, let's compare the productions a little bit here. Yeah, we got 2 starports versus 1. Bot-Tato has invested in all these turrets. It's got an extra refinery. It's getting up more upgrades, whereas Mulebot is not. It's not getting up any upgrades in this game whatsoever. That's why there's a higher supply for Mulebot. Bot-Tato's teching, Mulebot is just kind of making lots of stuff. And we'll see where these 2 points converge. It's quite a bio ball for Mulebot with some tanks in tow, but attacking in these bot matches is pretty difficult. Bots struggle when it comes to breaking anchored defense points. 5th base on the way for Mulebot already. We'll see whether Bot-Tato gets up a 5th soon as well. It does already have that 4th fully saturated, which is quite nice. So Bot-Tato with an actual worker lead. Bot-Tato moves forward, stimming its Marines. No combat shield done on them yet. The tanks are not sieged for Mulebot, but still, it's a terrible trade for the Red Terran. I'm asking right now, where are the tanks of Bot-Tato? It's got 1. I think another one just finished up. This is a TVT. It should be all about the tanks, and if it is, Bot-Tato's in a decent position. It does have the Viking, the Banshee, the Raven to give it that vision that it needs, although Mulebot is moving forward with its Marauders. The line of sight blockers here on Maganatha are really causing problems, as we see just just a lot of potential damage being lost. Mulebot sends some units around the left, though, and they are getting good damage done as its tank, its Liberator, rolls on up. There is... Mulebot pushing from 2 directions here, guys. And that means that this base is not mining. The 4th very well could go down. It's turning into a planetary, but it's not a planetary yet, and a tank is very good at chipping away at something like a PF. We do have another tank sieged up for Bot-Tato. It is kind of holding the line. The Banshee working as well. The Vikings in the skies are very important. It's 2-1 presently. What a scrappy TVT. A Viking coming forward. That's a big deal to shut down this Liberator potentially. I'm wondering whether this planetary will be repaired, though. The Liberator does go down. That the SCVs are like, can we save this now? They're like, no, there's still a tank there. So that's actually quite unfortunate. If this planetary falls, it could have been saved. The Viking actually lands. Very cool programming from Bot-Tato. It will kill the tank, but not in time to save the base. Meanwhile, the Banshees of Bot-Tato are still moving around. I think they are missing some fire time. Maybe moving a bit much there, but they do still control the skies and can work on some of these tanks. Mulebot trying to juggle these tanks. However, the attack does seem to be getting repelled by Bot-Tato. Just some loss there, losing the planetary. I mean, Bot-Tato's got bases to spare. This command center isn't finished, though, for some reason. What's going on here? Will it get finished? No, a bit of a bug from Bot-Tato. It's building a new expansion towards the north here, but not finishing that 6 o'clock base is very painful. I must say, though, I love the Vikings from Bot-Tato. They are doing quite well. And the fact that they're landing is just incredibly cool. That's not something we get from a lot of bots. Banshee and Viking having to retreat as the Marines of Mulebot do now have stim and are pushing forward. We're even getting double Thors from Mulebot. Man, oh man, what a cool first game. We're seeing everything. The delay on these bases is still huge, though. I really don't know why Bot-Tato isn't completing this. There's definitely a little bug there, and that could cost it drastically, because right now, Bot-Tato is just on 3 bases. It's going to struggle to match the trades that Mulebot is forcing it to take, and then we do have Bot Tato being pushed back a little bit. The tanks really are everything in this situation. But look at this. 2 command centers that are not being finished due to Mulebot just sending out the odd unit here and there. There's lots of SCVs that are hanging out, but this is an area that Mulebot really excels in. That is just having... Mulebot really excels just by having, like, units all over the place. And that creates chaos. Like, the value of a single Marine in this case is enormous. Bot Tato, though, not completing this base, that is an unfortunate bug. I don't know why that is. It sent an SCV out there to do it. I'm wondering if it sees it as complete, because it is at 71 out of 71 seconds. So I don't know how the API works there, but I could see that potentially being the source of the bug. Like, who knows? Maybe that's a bug other bots would have, just that's such a rare situation that base gets shut down at 71 out of 71 seconds. And let's see here. Thors for Mulebot are pushing forward. The 1 tank is shelling away. The Bio's stimming forward, but Bot Tato just coming up a little bit short here, not having the production to match the push of the Blue Terran. If we pull up the income here, it is a lead for Mulebot, and that means that Bot Tato is in quite a bit of trouble. The tank is unsieging. Is it going to retreat? That would be wise. No, it's going to re-siege, so not ideal there. We are getting some long-distance mining going down from Bot Tato, which is good. This base does get killed? Canceled, it must have been. But, yeah, that's not good, this location. I don't know what's going on with Bot Tato there. And here we have just a mass Thor army from Mulebot pushing in. This is not something we see in a lot of these bot games, is mass Thors, but I'm totally here for it, as they are doing a lot of work here. And Bot Tato is in a world of trouble. Just some economic issues. I think it was doing okay trading with Mulebot for quite a while, but in the end, unable to make that happen. We might have to do like a Bot Tato versus Mulebot best of 5 next week or something. That would be a fun one based on how this game has been. Now, yeah, I think it's just a slow death from here on out, guys. As the base... Oh, it did get finished. Okay, we're actually going to rewind. Why? Why did this base suddenly finish? Still not. Still not. Eventually, just a random SCV goes out and is like, yeah, let's finish that. Yeah, I finished my lunch break. Let's get back to it. Yeah, that's very bizarre. Unfortunately, it could be too little too late here. We'll see. I mean, it really is going to give a big income surge to Bot Tato to maybe maintain these trades. Defender's advantage is very strong. I think the main question will be whether we can get out some very clutch siege tanks, but man, oh man, there's 7 Thors out here. Vikings trying to fight Thors. Not a good look there. This location now being forced off, and yeah, there's a tank, but Mulebot brings its own tank. A little bit of interesting micro there, but Bot Tato is bullied off this location. Mulebot pretty much with the entire map. Very cool to see Mulebot actually mining from this gold base with the LaughNgamez. I don't think I've ever seen that from a bot before. Here on Maganatha, for those of you that don't know, if you want to get a base centered, you have to kill the rocks so they fall and kill the kill the LaughNgamez tower. Then you can take the base once the rocks are dead. It's very goofy. Mulebot killing its own SCVs so it can have more supply. That's very interesting. I don't think I've seen that before either. Holy smokes, Mulebot is very very interesting as far as bots go. We'll have to keep eyes on whether it's actually just going to like rebuild those SCVs, because that would be silly if it's killing them and then rebuilding them. But so far it's not, and we do just have Bot Tato being cut off now between its bases, not having enough tanks, I think. But yeah, I'd totally watch this game again if Bot Tato got up a 4th base, got up a 5th base a little quicker. Thors, for those of you that don't know, actually outrange Planetary Fortress when they don't have high-sec auto-tracking, which is unfortunately not done for Bot Tato, so the Thor having at the time of its life. And that is going to be it for our first game today. Guys, if you're tuning into the live stream, click that like button if you haven't already. You guys are the best at it. You always blow it out of the water. I enjoy doing these weekend live streams. We're now even getting ghosts out of MuleBot. It is rebuilding SCVs, which is funny. I think it might have lost some in the push since they've been repairing Thors, but... oh my gosh, where are all these SCVs going? Okay, some to repair. Worker management is hard, but MuleBot takes it. GG. Just give it the good old tasteless GG. Okay, I'll just check that match. Don't want to give any spoilers. That was ley lines, so now I need to request torches. I'm guessing it's V4. Yep, it is V4. Okay, so let's find our next game, ladies and gentlemen. Let me pull out of there. Pull up that. And who do we want to see next? Sharpened Edge is owed a new cast. Very notable that the author actually pushed an update to try and fix the carrier bug we saw last time. And so that's quite neat that the author is active again. Let's see, when was the update pushed? The update was pushed at 2100 hours on the 13th. It's played a lot of games since then. So maybe I'll just cast one of these. Yeah, let me turn that off for a sec. I'll pick the game so I don't spoil it for myself. Okay, maybe not that one. Let's see here. Oh, that could be an interesting game. I was kind of hoping to cast a longer one because it was a carrier bug that it had. Yeah, you know what? We'll do this one. Sharpened Edge versus GPT in a PvT. PvT of the ages, hopefully. Okay, let me just request the last match while that loads in. It's going to be on Pylon. Okay. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good old best of one between Sharpened Edge, a old but gold Protoss bot, getting a little bit of love recently, and taking it on is going to be GPT, the precise timing attack Terran bot. We'll see if it has its hands full today or not. As Sharpened Edge is a formidable opponent. That being said, one of the things that's difficult as a bot author is to keep up with all the new cheeses. And honestly, Sharpened Edge probably stopped being developed prior to GPT being born, which means that in theory, GPT probably isn't exactly hard countered or something. So. Okay, coffee is done. Scouting probe of Sharpened Edge, trying to be lethal as always, but not getting anything, as the Protoss bot plays it very safe, goes for Gateway, Cybercore, Zealot, saying that GPT is cheesing, and rightfully so. Upon seeing 2 racks and an eBay, this is looking like the one base timing from GPT, which is the build that it made its name off of, and this will be a very good test for Sharpened Edge. We're getting a battery already for Sharpened Edge. And the thing is, Sharpened Edge is reacting to this like it's an early game, like early game cheese. This is not that early of a cheese. As the Protoss, Like, the Terran is going to be researching stim, it's going to be researching combat shield +1, and not attacking, probably for at least like 2 minutes, right? And that means the Protoss might have been better off trying to get up some other tech, something like that. In theory, if you want to hold a rush like this as Protoss and you're one base, all you got to do is get a sentry and force field the ramp. But that's not something we really see in StarCraft 2 that often anymore, because one basing is just not viable like it was previously in StarCraft 2. So you really need to basically push and kill your... Well, if you're contained on one base, like, that's damage enough, right? Like, if you contain your opponent on one base, they're in trouble. Which is why force fielding the ramp and just being stuck on one base doesn't really work. Sharpened Edge saying rush one base rack, so it seems to have a pretty good feeling for what it's up against, which is impressive. GPT doesn't go for stim on one base. My apologies. Combat shield and +1. But my point still stands. An Immortal is very important for defending this kind of thing. The 2 batteries on top of the ramp is just so important. This will come down to timings. Whether Sharpened Edge says, yeah, I can take a natural base, or yeah, I can move out and attack GPT. If it does that, it's going to be in a lot of trouble, I think. If it stays and just absorbs the attack from GPT, I think there is a lot of potential for Sharpened Edge to hold this. And it's just one of those timing things, right? Like, bots have very similar timing sometimes. As we see, more Stalkers being warped in. Sharpened Edge has a formidable army, 2 Immortals, 7 Stalkers. That's the kind of army that can just kite back against a Bio Ball and do very well. They need to be able to do that, though. No concussive shell, so these units won't be getting tagged at all, which does mean that there is micro potential for Sharpened Edge. There's also a Prism on the way, which should be able to pick up and juggle these units, but this is what I'm talking about. Sharpened Edge is like, yeah, man, I've been building up for 5 minutes. Let's go and attack. And then it's like, oh god, here we go, as the Stalkers do move out, and they are going to actually intercept this Terran army quite nicely. GPT is giving it its all, moving forward. Lots of Stalkers taking damage, the +1 helping the bio out, but pretty good micro from Sharpened Edge. The Prism worth its weight in gold. GPT does manage to target down a few units. However, it does not succeed there, and that's a little bit unfortunate. Brian and others saying bots, bots, boats. Can we get likes on the stream? And yes, let's see here as Sharpened Edge is moving out. This is going to be the flip of the coin, though, as attacking on in is always the risky thing. So now it's Sharpened Edge's turn to overextend perhaps a little bit. As these Stalkers try and go up the ramp, GPT is just having the time of its life. The Prism does show up, though. This will provide high ground vision for the red Protoss. This means it can juggle against these units, but still it's a lot of Terran firepower. Immortals do not do that much damage against Marines. Sharpened Edge attempts to go for a warp and freezing the Prism in place. It very well may go down. It scoots on out of there somehow, but what a great defense by GPT. And the micro of these 2 bots is really looking good. Things are going to be getting better and worse for the Blue Terran, being that it will be mining out quicker with the mules on one base. However, it did just finish up +1 armor, which means that its bio is going to go a long way against what Sharpened Edge has. And here we have got the Nexus full on energy as well. So that's interesting. No chrono boost being used for anything. Sharpened Edge actually floating a good chunk of minerals right now, as then it just decides to warp in 4 Stalkers. A little bit odd, I guess, waiting for the Prism to actually do that warp in, which is very cool. Not a lot of bots use warp Prisms. And the red Protoss is going to try this once more. 4 Immortals out now. 1 is getting way too bold. We do see GPT catch one of these Immortals off guard. The Prism a little late to save that. The Stalkers are kiting back against the bio. The Prism sieges up so that it can go for a warp-in, but that costs the Prism its life, as GPT is on a path to cross the map and try and kill the Protoss, as now Sharpened Edge is on the retreat, as these units are just going home. If they retreat to the batteries, though, they should be in a pretty good way. There is now Concussive Shell as well, so if one of these Marauders can tag an Immortal or something, that would be huge. Sharpened Edge is trying to secure a natural base, but it does not want to do that. It's a nice concave for the Protoss. These Immortals, they absorb so much damage. The Stalkers, though, kind of taking the brunt of it and are all going down. Is there enough Protoss to hold on? 3 Immortals is no joke. A Sentry coming down to help out. It's going to try and tickle some Marines to death. It's now just Immortals against Marauders, which is bad news for the Marauders as Sharpened Edge holds on, gets the Nexus up. And now we take a look here. Sharpened Edge is starting to mine out its main base. That means GPT will be mining out as well. And that means that things are looking pretty rough for the Blue Terran unless GPT can cancel this Nexus. Its army's actually looking pretty good compared to what Sharpened Edge has right now. Sharpened Edge investing in a Twilight Council and not prepared for this next attack. It's a bit of a smaller wave, I think, for GPT. It's a lot of Terran bio, though. There's only 2 Immortals. If this Nexus can be canceled, that would really throw this game up in the air. The Immortals are kiting back, doing very well. The Marauders in the back, so they're not quite able to tag them as consistently, maybe as they should, but now the Nexus is in trouble. Sharpened Edge is making a single Colossi. Both of these bots incredibly mined out. Production is slowing. And we see one Stalker trying to do what it can, but that's not going to work. Probes running to their death at this natural. This one Stalker needs to retreat to the battery. There's a Colossi about to pop out. There's not a lot for Sharpened Edge here, though, to make this defense, but one Colossi supported by shield batteries is a pretty good unit if you're just going to have one unit, and it's doing quite well, cutting these Marines up. The battery doing work. Is there going to be an energy recharge? No, there is not, so Sharpened Edge, its age maybe showing a little bit there. The Colossi taking damage. It's kiting back. It does have the range to kill these units. The Sentry buffering for now. The one Marauder goes down. So that's something to add on to my Christmas wish list. Sharpened Edge getting energy recharge functionality would be nice. GPT, though, is still able to squeeze out another army, and it's coming up the ramp. There has not been enough time. We do get a force field on the ramp, though, from Sharpened Edge, and the Colossi is going to rain fire down on these Marines. Nice targeting on the Marines, too, as the Colossi does so much damage to them. 3 Zealots getting warped in. The last of Sharpened Edge's money. GPT, though, now splitting up. This is going to bring the Colossi maybe to a vulnerable position, which now needs to be retreating. It's so low on HP. The batteries of regen just a tiny bit of energy. The Colossi is so low. A Sentry comes forward. It drops a force field, but the Marauders are on the other side of it, and the Colossi is just doing what it can. When it's low on HP, it switches to a much more careful mode. The Colossi has regenerated a lot of shields, though a single Stalker gets warped in, and we are having an Immortal be produced for Sharpened Edge. And guys, I think it's time to talk about the fact that GPT doesn't long-distance mine with its SCVs when it mines out, nor does it lift off its base, I don't think. And so GPT has got one more wave. Sharpened Edge has been given a little bit of time, though, to get out some more units. The Colossi chilling here needs to be so careful. Like, hang out by that battery, man. I mean, okay. It's going to be a mighty tough hold for the Colossi. We'll see. If this Colossi goes down, I think GPT has the game. 33 kills on this big boy. Bio moving out for GPT. A similar looking ball to the previous ones. Will Sharpened Edge be able to retreat? It's going to have to cancel this Nexus, that's for sure. As the Terran is coming on in, will the reaction be instantaneous for Sharpened Edge? It should be, as it identifies the bio. The Colossi immediately begins kiting. The Stalker's in a little bit of trouble. The Immortal gets tagged by some Marauders, so that could very well go down, and it does. 2 Sentries are present, but they're going to get deleted. The Nexus is now taking the damage, but the Colossi is getting free swipes. I think the Nexus will have to be a cancel, as, it is canceled. The Colossi is kind of cornered, though, but the Marauders are ignoring it, and that means another force field locks these Marauders out of the base. Sharpened Edge has another Immortal on the way, and it seems to have held the line. Man, oh man, I should have cast this game for YouTube. This is a great one, as Yeah, sharpened edge. The one clutch Colossi holds on. GPT is now totally out of money. And yeah, this is why on my Christmas wish list is the orbital either lifting off and GPT or GPT long distance mining. It isn't something that would affect probably 90% of the games, but in games like this, GPT maybe could still win. But it's, in this case, it cannot, as it's done mining. And that is going to be a win for Sharpened Edge, which can just take its time to macro up and rebuild, which is exactly what it's going to do. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying these bot matches, click that like button on the stream. Do it. Just do it. And, yeah. Sharpened Edge just going to take its sweet time, build up that economy. There's all the tech. And there's the game. GG. Man, what a great game between these two. Okay, we do have all our matches queued up of MicroMachine versus sharkbot, so we're ready to go on that best of 5 whenever we want. We will have a few more precursor games, though, prior to that. If you have any requests, any bots you want to see in particular, let me know. We can take a look at some of them. Has been a while since we watched a Xena game. Has Xena been updated yet? Oh, it was updated the 30th of September, but I don't think it's getting like any big updates or anything like that. It's been a while since we've watched a tier game. We could watch a Y game, perhaps. You guys are a big fan of Y. Let me just do the hand thing. Pick a game. Yeah, let's do how about this? We'll do a Y versus MicroMachine game, and then we'll do a sharkbot versus someone game, and then we'll do MicroMachine versus sharkbot. Okay, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be the one of the cheesiest Terran bots. It's Y, the new kid on the block. Can we see Cannonana? I can do a Sharkbot versus Cannonana game. GPT is also sadly ignoring the Colossi. That's a tricky one, because Colossi will kite you to the end of, till the end of time, right? When you're trying to get it with bio, at least without stim. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe ignoring the Colossi is the best thing. Because Colossi are one of those units, right? If they're microed properly, they should never die against bio. I honestly think maybe putting some Marauders in the front, not that Marauders tag Colossi, would be a good tweak maybe too. The way the armies are grouping up, Marines are always in the front, so the Marauders are missing their initial tag sometimes. Okay, so in this game, we've got MicroMachine going for a Proxy Rax Proxy Factory against Y, which is seemingly going for its Mass Reaper shenanigans. So we are going to have a very, very dirty TVT between these two bots. Reaper and MicroMachine finds an SCV, will kill it, then head on over to the main base, and it's going to say, holy smokes, that's a lot of racks. As the Reaper of MicroMachine gets a very nice pick off, delaying a racks in the main. On the other side, Y's Reaper is attacking a supply depot. That's not good. That is a big, big waste of time and not what you want to see. The Reapers are still being produced by Y, but they are not responding defensively. This one identifies the Reaper of MicroMachine and will give chase. That's very important, as that Reaper has already caused a lot of damage, 3 kills. Meanwhile, the supply depot still being shot for MicroMachine. Presumably at some point SCVs will come off the line to repair this. Maybe not. As a second Reaper for Y shows up, there we go. Now they're going to start getting aggressive in MicroMachine's base, and the counter damage is going to start adding up here. 2 Reapers can kill SCVs very, very quickly. Good Reaper micro from Y. Not letting the SCVs stab the Reaper is very important, I will say. Like, that is something that I noticed, I think might have happened to Bot Tato's Reaper in the previous game, because if a Reaper even takes 1 SCV stab, they stop regenerating. So it's good practice to try and have your Reapers avoid those as much as possible. And these two are just doing a lot of work. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, MicroMachine's Reaper, another Reaper, pardon me, hasn't got any more damage done. So things have really flipped here. Where's all of MicroMachine's units? Looks like it did actually just lose one of its Reapers. It brought one home to help defend. There is a Cyclone out now and a tank for MicroMachine as it moves on in to get counter-aggressive. 1 tank and Cyclone can kill a lot of Reapers potentially. Grenade hits the tank and sends it flying. MicroMachine isn't mining at all. What a ridiculous bot game we have here, as Y is trying to chase down MicroMachine's 1 Reaper. It's buying a good bit of time. I think it's actually going to go down, though, and this means that MicroMachine pretty much has to win the game here with 1 Cyclone and 1 tank. Now, a tank and a Cyclone are a pretty good duo, as the Cyclone can kill Reapers in, gosh, what is it, 3 shots, something like that? I do not know exactly, but lots of mining time being denied, too, as Y's SCVs scattered due to the Cyclone. In their midst, the 1 tank of MicroMachine is hanging out still. Here come the Reapers for Y. We'll see if they're able to get either the Cyclone or the tank. Either would be a big thing. Y is saying tag switch to prevent tie as it goes into Marine production. I'm not sure that's what it wants, though, as MicroMachine on its side of the map has resumed mining thanks to Mule technology and squeezing out a few SCVs. And here we go, as MicroMachine looks to push on up this ramp once again. Marines popping out. They do get the odd shot off on the Cyclone. Reaper coming forward, but the tank supporting it. And unless this Cyclone goes down, things are going to be very grim for Y. What are these Reapers doing? The answer is they're sleeping. They're sleeping on the job. That's not good, as Y is totally ignoring this asset it has. It could be counterattacking, could be defending. So I'm wondering if the Reapers just went into like idle mode or something when they weren't positioned at home. The Marines, though, of Y actually path on top of the tank of MicroMachine and are able to get it as the Cyclone abandoned its duty and actually got a little bit glitched out here. I think it keeps seeing this Reaper and is like, oh, I can't go there. So a little bit of a pathing bug from MicroMachine. Behind this, though, both bots have little economies, 9 SCVs to 8. We've got MicroMachine going for Cloak, though, which could potentially be a game-winning tech, as there's just not a lot of wiggle room to deal with Banshees when you're only on 8 SCVs. Y's got a little bit of Marine production. For now, though, things are looking quite rough for Y, I think. Just the fact that this Banshee's on the way. MicroMachine wins a lot of games with its Banshees. Okay, here we have got Cloak. Still researching. Feels like an eternity. Yeah, the lack of economic balancing here from Y is a total mistake. It's also got 2 SCVs just chilling. It's one of the things that I have criticized Team Eris's Terran and maybe even ProtossBot for in the past, the lack of economic balancing. Like, MicroMachine was mining gas, pulls in and out of gas all the time. Its balancing is very good. Okay, here we have got Cloak on the way. About to finish up. A Banshee has been produced. It's crossing the map. I think we're just going to have a victory here from MicroMachine with this Banshee. Unless there's some crazy clutch scan from Y, but as you pointed out, Tom, the lack of switching from gas to minerals is incredibly painful. It's not that hard of a problem to fix either, I don't think, but here we go. MicroMachine just slaughtering the Marines and going to take this one. Very scrappy game. I could see how Y would win some of these, but the fundamentals and the polish are definitely here for MicroMachine. Second Banshee shows on up, and that'll seal the deal. More Banshees, says MicroMachine. Just taking its sweet time. The Reapers are still there. And now they're not. GG. MicroMachine able to take it. Well done. The old but gold Terran. Okay, so we'll do a Cannonana versus Sharkbot game next. And then we'll have our best of 5. Let me switch that for a sec. Just gotta do the hand thing. Find the game. Oof, I need to work on my ergonomics a little bit. They're bad. Oh, that's probably messing up the camera, isn't it? Oopsie daisy. Okay, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, into our final match before getting into our big old best of 5. If you guys are tuning into this one, make sure to click that like button. If you enjoy the live streams and you're watching the VODs or whatever, yeah, consider becoming a YouTube member, all that good stuff. Yeah, just join the Discord if you want to get more bot news, get pings when I go live. Okay. Probe. Scout for Sharkbot. We'll see what shenanigans the Protoss is going to get up to. Sometimes Sharkbot likes to block naturals, third and fourth bases usually, I believe. Although, we did have a big chunk of time which we were not watching Sharkbot games. Due to the fact that it was off the ladder. The patch took some time for it to be updated. But it really is nice to see that there's really only one bot that I can think of that we're missing on the ladder, and that's Ketrock. Which is cool. I do hope we will eventually get Ketrock's bot back. Ling's out for Cannonana, thanks to that early pool. And the scouting probe of Sharkbot will be in a bit of trouble. And it's dead. Expo of Sharkbot gets spotted. Notably no wall off against Zerg, which is risky. Although who knows, maybe that's based on the scout that Sharkbot's like, yeah, I don't need to. But at the same time, there's nothing stopping Cannonana from flooding Lings at this point in the game. And it probably could get the kill depending on how it's programmed. Yeah. Yeah, Evil Zoe, that's another one that is missed. That's been off a long time, though, since Python updated and broke it. Dadbot, yeah, but that's partly written by Sharkbot. Dysnomia lives on in Eris and Changeling. So Evil Zoe and Zoe, yeah. They kind of live on in Xena, though, too, with that Xena macro we get sometimes. Okay, we have got the third hatchery going up for Cannonana. We're getting Burrow on the way, Roach Warren 2. Meanwhile, Sharkbot going for a Stargate. It's perhaps one of the most notorious air-using Protoss. Adept Shade trying to hunt down this Ling, but then it actually lets it go on by. That's not great. As Cannonana gets a nice scout on absolutely everything. It's too late. Cannonana has seen everything. Someone contact Google to bring back Alpha Star. Yeah, Google didn't want to pay for that, I don't think. Makes a lot of sense that the reason why Alpha Star was shut down was because anytime the game updated or the maps changed, they pretty much had to rerun it, right? Yeah, I know someone bugged Soup Catcher previously about Evil Zoe. It's a bit interesting, like, why it's broken, right? Like, if it was just the Python thing, shouldn't it just be a simple fix? Unless I'm mistaken and, like, something fundamentally changed, but I don't imagine that. Sharkbot with its Void Ray, shooting some Lings and then getting pushed out by Queens. Quite an ambitious Void Ray, I will say. We're getting an Oracle. Glaive's on the way for Sharkbot. Cannonana's Scouting Ling is still getting lots and lots of information. This is why walls are important for the most part. Lair on the way for Cannonana, as the Zergbot just goes for drones and queens, something that it does very well with. Adepts moving on out, crossing the map for Sharkbot to get a little bit aggressive here. Cannonana is going to be tested to defend this. However, I think it absolutely does have the tools to defend against these Adepts. Roaches are just so darn good. The Adepts, of course, can potentially shade past and get some damage done, but lots of Lings have been produced in order to shut this down. And then we have got Sharkbot's aggression kind of getting shut down quite effectively, as the Adepts that shade by are just cleaned up by the Lings. Void Ray in the skies causing some problems for the Lings, but they're just so darn quick. They're able to pick off these Adepts. Oracles for Sharkbot are keeping the Queens occupied, as the Queens are keeping the Oracles occupied, depending on which way you look at it. We are getting a Robobay, a Forge on the way for Sharkbot, so it is teching up. Cannonana, though, has held this aggression quite handily, losing 3 drones, 27 Lings, and now it might be getting a bit aggressive on the other side of the map. But if we look at the actual worker count, Sharkbot didn't need to get much done because it delayed the economy of Cannonana so much by forcing all these units out and then just being greedy itself. As the blue Protoss bot takes up a 4th base already. This was something that we saw Sharkbot really struggle with in the previous video that I did. It was getting up past 3 bases, so the fact that it's already got a 4th up is incredibly significant. It was either a 4th or a 5th it struggled with, as Cannonana goes to burrow Lings and block the potential expansions of Sharkbot. This will be a good test for the red Protoss bot, whether it can eventually get a 5th up or not. We have got Carapace going up for Cannonana. Lots of drones, Lings on the way. And then there is... yeah, just Just a pretty small Zerg economy when we look at this. The Lings are going to give it a try, and there's not that many units for sharkbot. Where are the oracles? Are they still being kept busy by the queens? They are indeed. Have they got any kills? Not many anyway. So Cannonana unable to attack on in and shut down a base of sharkbot. I think the roaches might have got a stalker there. But all in all, the Protoss bot can kind of just sail ahead and go for some smooth macro, and I think it will be fine, as Cannonana is only on 66 drones, 4 bases, against a Protoss that's on 77 probes. There's not a lot of tech going on. The Zerg does elect to attack forward. There's no anti-air with this, though, so the Void Ray can definitely help out a lot. There's a battery. There's a cannon about to finish up. Probes are fighting and dying, but when we look at the cost, pound for pound, the Zerg did not do too well there, as sharkbot can just chrono boost out more probes if it wants to, replace those, and keep a strong 4-base economy. We did have a cannon built by sharkbot, so it was able to clean up this potential 5th base location. Cannonana going to try and maybe burrow a Ling in there. Nope, that base shall not be blocked, as the cannon can free that up. It's interesting, this cannon approach, because if there was a creep tumor here, the cannon wouldn't kill it, but the base would still be blocked. So that's something to consider when we look at the cannon strategy to free up bases. And creep is actually spreading, so there's a world in which this base gets blocked before sharkbot expands to it. Colossi being added into the composition. Stargate's on the way. The most important unit for Cannonana will be showing its face soon, though, as we're getting Neural Parasite researched. And Cannonana is incredibly good with Infestors. Overseers en masse for the Zerg. 10 Overseers is not cheap, but they are trying to keep vision on sharkbot constantly. The Zerg is thinking about going in here. I do not think Cannonana can take this fight. Lings and Roaches against a Colossi Void Ray composition is not looking promising. Sharkbot is long distance mining, but it's a race here as the creep is getting closer and closer towards the base. Cannonana can't break the main army of sharkbot, but if it can block a further expansion, that could be its way to winning this game. Sharkbot grouping its forces up, making this big old Protoss death ball that just keeps getting better and better. Colossi about to have extended thermal lance, +2 attack on the way. We're even getting a dark shrine added in, which is interesting. No 4th from sharkbot yet. It finally gets up the money. The creep tumor didn't make it there in time to block the nexus, so that's important. But we can see there how that could have easily been a nexus block with repercussions for sharkbot, which is why I think like having a unit patrol or something and an observer is the best way to clean up those bases. We have the Void Rays of sharkbot still not really being contested. There's a few Hydras out now, and okay, there's 12 being produced. As sharkbot's actually looking to move out and just go for a kill here. Cannonana, it's building lots of panic spines. It's just in quite a bit of trouble, though, because sharkbot's army almost looks unassailable in this position. The queens are coming forward to help out. The Zerg army just funneling in to the meat grinder, though. Sharkbot begins kiting back as soon as Protoss units are in danger. That allows it to take a pretty good trade. The Roaches are doing a good job buffering, though, and Sharkbot actually splits up its army very inefficiently. That allows the Zerg to take quite a decent trade as Sharkbot gets forced home. The Protoss securing up this 5th base is massively important, but the rest of the map is still covered in creep, and Cannonana is flipping this one around as it does go to get aggressive. The Colossi just not putting out enough damage to kill these units. We see Roaches taking some heat and then just pulling back. I mean, of course, there is some kills, some successful retreats going on in there, but I'm just amazed by how much firepower Cannonana has with just +1 attack Roaches and Hydras. It's pushing in. Sharkbot is on the defense and is in quite a bit of trouble here. We are having more Void Rays, Tempest being added into the mix. The Colossi still doing very well for themselves. Sharkbot just doesn't seem to have the numbers, as Cannonana is spamming these lower tier units, but doing quite well with them as the Zerg swarm pivots and begins hitting the 5th. The Sharkbot probes are going down. Cannons may be able to clean this up or defend this location, but it's still quite painful for the Protoss as it's being hit in multiple locations. Sharkbot at 156 supply. That's the number to watch. Does the supply go up or does it go down? That is the question. Lings of Cannonana harassing another location. The cannons for Sharkbot are worth their weight in gold, though, in order to keep these locations mining, or at least get them back mining fairly quickly. There's the Prism as well for Sharkbot, which can juggle High Templar, which can drop feedbacks instantly, drop Psystorms. I say feedbacks because Cannonana has been adding in Vipers to its composition. Lings are still running around and harassing. Creep is pushing towards the Protoss door as Cannonana goes for another dive here. Void Ray is pulling back to try and stay alive, but they're in quite a bit of trouble. Sharkbot's mining is just being disrupted too much. It looks like 2 cannons at each base is not enough right now for the red Protoss. Sharkbot's just had mining disrupted at its bases for so darn long in this game. Its income really has been low, and that allows Cannonana to take trades to start making Sharkbot fall down in supply. Void Rays, Colossi, Tempest, I mean, they're very powerful units, but some of the Void Rays are going down in these skirmishes. The Colossi absolutely need to stay alive. If the Colossi die, I think that will probably be it for Sharkbot. One of the Colossi retreats home. It's interesting, the pullback mechanic on those units is Void Rays are trying to retreat when they take shield damage. Instead of just pulling away from the enemy, they're hard pathing towards the main base, it looks like, and that's not ideal. As we just saw Void Ray go down there, Sharkbot down to 125 supply. The Protoss is trying to weather the storm. It's like that campaign mission at the end of Legacy of the Void. Survive the Zerg onslaught. Cannonana is the swarm here. And while Sharkbot's taking some decent trades in the army, it's just losing so many probes. 125 probes have died. Cannonana is doing an expert job targeting down these workers, and that's where it's getting a lot of value. Sharkbot's only on 47 probes. It can't maintain the trades when its worker count is this low. And yeah, Cannonana can eventually just pick units off one by one. A High Templar's in a very vulnerable position there. The Prism is just abandoning this High Templar. Cannonana's like, wait, can I kill this? And yeah, it does kill the High Templar. Creep is now pushing towards the Protoss's natural base. Cannonana moves forward once more. Sharkbot is just really struggling here. It was close, I think, to maybe reaching that critical mass, but incredible efficiency by Cannonana just to be able to push on in here. The Nexus is going to fall, and with that, the Zerg swarm succeeds. And I gotta give it to Cannonana. The last video I did of Sharkbot was, it almost looked like a Sharkbot loss because it couldn't get up a 5th base or something like that. Well, in this game, it got up a 5th base, but Cannonana's onslaught is just so darn powerful. So that is setting us up for our final match, and it's not just going to be a best of 1, guys. It's going to be a best of 5 between Sharkbot and MicroMachine. Hopefully we get some build diversity between the two bots. Sharkbot trying to get aggressive, but there's just no way it will be able to push out here. Incredibly well done. Cannonana is such an enigma because it hasn't been updated on the ladder in a long time, since like February, but it's doing so darn well. Like, still, it seems like it almost does better than it did prior to the patch. Slow death and a GG. Hydras and Fast Forward are very comical. I'm not sure, did we see Psystorm? No, we never saw Psystorm get researched for Sharkbot. Oh, that's a big problem. It had a ton of High Templar, but no Psystorm. Oh, that could very well, who knows, maybe that's why Sharkbot lost. It had all those High Templar that were incredibly expensive. How many died this game? 8. Okay, so it's not that many, but still a few. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Time to play the game. MicroMachine versus sharkbot game number 1 going to be on Pylon. If you guys are watching this stream, click that like button. If you enjoy these live bots, yeah, just give it a lick. I'll try and do future streams a little bit earlier because I know it's late for you Europeans, but who doesn't watch StarCraft before bed? Okay, here we have it. A best of 5. In the upper left, it is MicroMachine. And in the bottom right, it's sharkbot. I almost did sharkbot versus changeling, or MicroMachine versus changeling. But then I'm like, let's do this one. These best of 5s definitely are fun. We'll just see if we do actually get some build diversity or not, as you never know. A lot of bots, they'll just do the same build over and over again against the same opponent when they use things like win rates to select. Scout from MicroMachine. I'm curious what build we'll get out of sharkbot. Ooh, look at this. Proxy Marauder, I think, from MicroMachine. That's very dirty. Sharkbot does go for a Gateway Expand, which is concerning against a Proxy Marauder build. Probe Scout for sharkbot, looking for a proxy, unable to find it so far, but if it scouts this out, that could be massively important. I do wonder if sharkbot's scouting is just like random or what. Checks the 4th base. And while MicroMachine's just got the cheeky racks hanging out here. Oh, it's... Yeah, sharkbot, like if we look at its vision, it's just... looking around, not scouting the main base, though. MicroMachine does have its first Marauder out inside the main base, so it's got a ways to travel. Sharkbot, though, is totally unaware of this. We are getting a battery built for Sharkbot. However, this is going to feel like it takes a long, long time to be constructed, because when Marauders are rushing you, that battery cannot get up soon enough. Sharkbot is producing its first unit, a single stalker, going to have to contend with at least a few Marauders. Not impossible if probes are pulled to help out. However, Concussive Shell is already done, so Sharkbot says, oh, and now it is being cheesed hard. The stalker can skirmish with the Marauder, but it's not running towards the battery. It wants to pad towards the battery, but then it's not shooting. So that is incredibly painful for Sharkbot. As now probes are trying to skirmish with the Marauders. We see MicroMachine tagging the probes, so they're slow to chase after this. Sharkbot has got a sentry out now to try and defend. We're getting another battery built at the front, which is going to help buffer against this. Sharkbot goes for a 3rd battery. That's very important. The production for the Protoss bot is just not that high right now. It's working off a single gateway. Chrono boosting out a Zealot. MicroMachine, though, is distracted by a single probe. This probe could be saving the game for Sharkbot as the Marauders chase it so far. This buys a lot of time. MicroMachine now backing off based off what it sees, and Sharkbot does have its Robo about to finish up. I do hope we see an Immortal from the blue Protoss bot, but it looks like that MicroMachine was repelled by Sharkbot in game number 1, so far anyway. I mean, there's always a chance the Marauders can just get after it and move across the map. But all in all, Sharkbot not in a terrible spot. It's got a Dark Shrine on the way. Oh man, this is what you have to love about Sharkbot. There's not a lot of bots that will do builds like this. Looks like a Zealot and a Probe try and get aggressive. They actually get recalled by Sharkbot. MicroMachine does have a natural base behind this, so that's nice for the Terran, and it goes to show that MicroMachine wasn't wholly committed to this, as it did transition fairly quickly. Hello, Raiden Sama. Hope you're doing well today. charge on the way for sharkbot. Is it going to be like DTs in charge? MicroMachine doesn't have any detection presently. It's got a starport, so it can potentially get up like a Raven. MicroMachine tends to go for Cloak more often than not, I think, though. As, yeah, the Dark Sharkbot, holy cow. Look at this tech investment, guys. It's got a Twilight Council, a Dark Shrine, a Robo Bay on the way. Make up your mind, Sharkbot. I think you need more units than anything. As Sharkbot does have the Dark Shrine about to finish up. It's working off just 2 gateways, though, and then it invests in a Stargate. What are you doing, man? That is way, way too much tech. As MicroMachine is just charging across the map with a bunch of Terran Bio. We're getting Storm research now, when it just researched Charge, but hasn't got really any Zealots. So Sharkbot better make a DT, or it is going to be in a world of trouble. It's warping in a Zealot. Oh, no, 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 no. As the probes decide to fight and run towards the Terran Bio, Sharkbot's in a world of trouble. I think we have a case of just big eyes here, eyeing up all the tech and then giving the game away to MicroMachine. As it built a Dark Shrine, but it didn't build a single Zealot. Or a single DT. What the heck? Probes being pulled into the fight, but this one is over. A little bit underwhelming. Yeah. That's this is why tech should be progressive, guys. You can't just build every tech structure you need at once. Otherwise, you just get mopped. If Sharkbot had just, say, played with Zealots and DTs for a bit, and then got into a Stargate, or then got into a Robo, or then got into a Templar Archives, not all 3 at the same time, it would have, I think it probably could have defended this. Like, who knows? A DT very well may have won at this game, but yeah, way too much investment in tech. GG, game 1 goes to MicroMachine. I'll go ahead and load us into that next match. Oh, it looks like it was a crash. So I'll have to queue up another game. MicroMachine might not like torches. Okay, I can go ahead and load up this next one, though. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in to this best of 5. MicroMachine crashes on torches. Good to know, thank you. That's a little bizarre. What do you think causes that? All right, crash or no crash, MicroMachine did very well in that previous match. I definitely think it was more of a case of Sharkbot giving it away than any particular brilliance by MicroMachine, but hey, if your opponent's making a mistake, just let him do it. Whoa. Man, my ergonomics are bad. I really got to do something about it. Okay, so hopefully Sharkbot plays that game similar to the previous one and then just picks a tech and goes with it. Oh, my only yeah. Those Zerg rocks and gold patches, yeah. That's a little bizarre. Like, what would it be possibly trying to do? Like, if it tries to build a structure there, it's probably just going to not be able to path towards it, or maybe it's something with, like, does it parse the maps or something on initial boot or something like that? I don't know. I'm not a good programmer. That might be something some of the pathing queries return infinity. Yeah. That might be something worth someone adding adding Raffer, I think it is. Be like, hey, what's going on here? Ooh, Sharkbot actually finds the proxy already. It's aware it's up against Proxy Marauders in game number 1, much sooner than the previous match. It's going to pull probes right out the gate, though. Attack the tech lab. That's a bold move. Can these probes kill a tech lab before the Marauder gets out? The Marauder will still build, even if the tech lab dies, but that will pause future Marauder production. I've never seen a response to a Proxy Marauder rush like this. My StarCraft knowledge is correct in that the Marauder will continue building, just it means no more Marauder production off that Rax. Has to build a new one. Sharkbot now has a Stalker out. It will need a pylon and a battery still. There's a battery building. A sentry on the way. We have a high ground for the Stalker, but there's already 2 Marauders out for MicroMachine, so Sharkbot's Stalker is cooked. And probes, once again, are going to have to be drafted. Sharkbot attempts to build another battery, but a probe blocks it. We've got a sentry on the way out, but that is not going to be enough. A Stalker is being produced, and can one sentry save the day? Like, Marauders don't deal that much damage, so with the battery, it actually can soak a lot of damage, and it's doing exactly that as the sentries are doing their thing. And the sentry will actually kill one of the Marauders here, funnily enough. Yeah, it does before it goes down. A Stalker was produced by Sharkbot. Probes will have to be pulled. Another battery is about to finish up. The Stalker previously tried to retreat to the battery. It should recognize that that is a good place to go. It makes it to the battery, but not in time, so the Stalker goes down. Now all the probes are being pulled. Behind this, MicroMachine has a command center building. And so Sharkbot is in a world of trouble. Just a bit of unfortunate pathing there. Probes just pulled to their death as the Marauders can kite these endlessly. Another Stalker does pop on out for Sharkbot. It's got a Robo just about to finish, as the Stalker's got its hands full here with 4 Marauders. It gets tagged. It gets killed. MicroMachine has found success with its Proxy Marauder, more so than in the previous game. I really thought this one was looking better for Sharkbot, but I think we're looking at a dead Protoss bot here, guys. And that's the beautiful thing about MicroMachine. It's not going to sit back and give Sharkbot time to try and macro up and rebuild. No, it will end the game. What a monster. As I say that, it does actually go home, but I'm willing to bet it'll attack out pretty soon. Sharkbot's still pulling probes to try and fight this. One Marauder for MicroMachine is like, yeah, I got this. Meanwhile, there's a Reaper. All the probes are dying. And that is game number 2 going MicroMachine's way. Sharkbot talks the talk, but cannot walk the walk against that cheese. I did love the probe pull against that. I've never seen such a thing. But, yeah. All right, let's load into the next match. We just did Ultra Love. Now we are going into ley lines. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the live stream. How long have we been live? Over an hour now. I think, honestly, I think I'm probably going to abandon the best of 5s at this point. Unfortunately, queuing best of 5s off the ladder does not give unique games. And casting the same game 5 times in a row, or 3 times in a row, is not great. So I think if I do a stream again, I think I'm probably going to just, I think I'm probably going to just do like best of 1s. I'll just try and pick really good best of 1s. Do like Eris versus -0. Because individual matches are better than doing the repeat matches. That's why ProBots is so fun, because bot authors do put in the work to try and snipe with builds, and you get a lot more variety in the best of 5s. And unfortunately, most bots are just programmed to have ladder logic and pick the best build, which is the same one over and over again. Sharkbot not canceling the Nexus against Proxy Marauders might have been a bit greedy there. It just cannot defend with a single gateway. You need more than that. As we have the proxy going up again, I think we'll fast forward a little bit here. We'll see if sharkbot finds it again, but just, yeah, Gateway Nexus is a risky play. Not a lot of bots actually go for a build this greedy. Sharkbot will find the proxy. This could be a lot better, though, because the Rax is nowhere near done. And, oh, it builds a pylon to block the tech lab, but then the probe abandons attacking the SCV. I think if it just attacked the SCV, it could have shut the Rax down. The pylon is very, very cute, because I think this may just break MicroMachine. It's probably trying to build a tech lab that it never will. And so that's one way to pause Marauder production. We do have a Marauder building back at home, though. Probe zapping onto the Rax. This game, sharkbot will have more production because it didn't pull 4 or 5 probes to attack the tech lab. It's just one probe zapping away. So in theory, sharkbot should be able to get up more production quicker. MicroMachine has one Marauder moving across the map, but it's going to be a 1v1 for starters. A Stalker versus a Marauder, that's a different skirmish. As sharkbot moves forward with its Stalker, it should still absolutely be sitting at home. It's shooting the Rax, letting the Marauder kill the Stalker for free. Oh no, the Stalker for sharkbot just going to die as a battery goes up for sharkbot, but that's too late. Are we going to see the most disappointing death here for sharkbot as the Marauder and MicroMachine can actually target down the battery potentially? Another Stalker comes on out. That's important. This Marauder, if it dies before it links up with its friend, that would be a big deal. Sharkbot at least targets it down, so it's 1 for 1 there. And then we have sharkbot getting out more batteries. It does lose that Stalker, but another one's about to pop on out. Probe's chasing the Marauder away. MicroMachine behind this, though, does have a command center going up. It's got a factory going up. There is a Stalker for sharkbot, but it needs to take better care of these. Like, you're supposed to defend when you're defending these. Instead, sharkbot's like, yeah, I'll fight this. And then we have terrible behavior here in which the Stalker, instead of doing the shoot retreat, it just hard paths towards the battery. That is not good behavior. You always want to be shooting each step if you can, because now this, well, I mean, sharkbot's still alive, but it's down on workers compared to MicroMachine now, which is the natural base landing. And transition is happening here. Stalker going to try and fight the Marauder. You cannot win that fight, my guy. You need to hang out near those batteries. Stalker regains some shields and then is going to get back out there. A Stalker warping in slowly at that pylon is not ideal. Sharkbot really looking to scrap here. It is building another Stalker warping in slowly at that pylon. Looks like this Rax will be getting killed, and sharkbot is going for a much stronger ground composition. I think this is the most units sharkbot's had all series, as it produces an immortal and builds more Stalkers. Will it go for a counterattack? I think that has a lot of opportunity, but now MicroMachine is building a planetary at its natural base. You've got to love that to say, hey, I'm in trouble, just build the PF. I'm a big fan of that. Sharkbot is getting aggressive here, though. MicroMachine sets up a tank on the high ground. And can Sharkbot make something happen as it moves in with these units? It's going to eat a tank shot, probably. The tank unsieges. The planetary is not done. We got Stalkers against Marauders, but Sharkbot actually decides to go on home. MicroMachine stims after this. The Stalker running. It's going to lock itself in a corner. It doesn't target down the injured Marauder either, so there's a bit of a lost opportunity. And MicroMachine does get away with the third base. Meanwhile, Sharkbot cut a lot of probes to make that aggression happen. We do have the Protoss bot once more over-investing in tech as we get a Templar Archives following up a Robo. I really hope we don't see a Stargate or anything after this, because that is just going to be impossible to utilize off of 2 bases with 31 probes. But I think that's what we're going to see here. Okay, we actually get a Colossi. Now that's a big deal. A Sharkbot can definitely hold on here with a Colossi with these 3 batteries at the natural. It picks off that injured Marauder finally before the Medivac can heal it up. There is an Immortal here as well. Injured Stalker does get locked on and killed by the Cyclone, though. A Dark Shrine on the way now. We'll see if we actually get any DTs in this game or not. Sharkbot does just have 2 gateways. Stalker blinks forward, or pardon me, doesn't blink forward, just wanders forward. I just couldn't believe how far forward it got there. Batteries are healing up some of these units. However, the Immortal died during that. Sharkbot has the Colossi out now, which will help. It's got pretty good Colossi behavior, it seems. Still, though, Sharkbot goes for a Stargate off of what is effectively, I'm going to say, like a 1-base mineral economy, because it's got 2 probes mining at its natural. That is not enough minerals to utilize this production. The Dark Shrine on the way. It is researching Psystorm. It's getting extended thermal lance. Sharkbot has got a tech problem. Prism now can begin juggling these units. We're going to need to see some amazing trades from Sharkbot, though, in order to hold on in this game. It's got the Prism in a Dream. It's got the batteries to fall back to. There's a chance we're getting another Colossi on the way for Sharkbot. But look at this. MicroMachine's getting out a Viking, and then it's researching weapon refit. It's got a battle cruiser on the horizon, I think. And now Sharkbot is going to be in trouble, as there is actually a Banshee harassing. There's no detection for the Protoss bot. 3 tanks set up. The Colossi has to be lifted up. There's no anti-air here in order to defend against the Banshee. This is the pain of having only 2 gateways. The Colossi almost goes down. It does get juggled and saved, but then it's going to go back out. Looks like it will get a swipe off on a tank or 2 and somehow stay alive. These batteries are putting in a lot of work. There is a Phoenix on the way, so eventually there will be a Phoenix to help deal with... There will be a Phoenix to help deal with the Banshee once that Banshee can actually be seen. Colossi pops out. It does grab one of the tanks, but then it's going to move forward, eat more tank shots. Tanks can outrange Colossi, guys. They're one of the few units in the game that can. And... yeah, we have got the Banshees, I think, just going to end this one. Sharkbot going way too hard on the tech again. We saw a Dark Shrine. We saw Templar Archives. We saw a Stargate. We saw a Robo Bay. At least Colossi were made, but, like, yeah, way, way too much tech here. Now it's like, I need Gravitic Drive. It's like, no, you don't. You need something else, man. You need more units. And that is going to be it for this game, as MicroMachine will... I didn't even do the scoreboard. MicroMachine takes the 3-0. Yeah, mini single elimination tournament. That could be fun. I also like how the win rate for Sharkbot dropped as the tournament went on for the poll. Yeah, you guys. Yeah. A single elimination tournament with best of ones would be fun, but like, there's going to be pro bots going on. There's eventually going to be another AI arena tournament, I think. I don't want to be trying to, like, run my own thing while those guys are doing their thing, because they also run tournaments much better than I ever could, because they actually run the games and have the bot authors send in submissions, whereas I just use the ladder and request games. So that's why their series are arguably better than ones here on the channel. So I'll just stick to doing best of 1 ladder games in the future, I think. All right, that's going to be it for this one, though, as MicroMachine takes it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the matches, yeah, click that like button, subscribe, and yeah, have a good rest of your Sunday. Thanks for tuning on in. Just gotta always remember to delete those pings. Bye-bye.